Hey everyone, and welcome. So today we're going to dive into a really fascinating passage from the Quran that on the surface seems to be all about what you can and can't eat. But when you look closer, it's actually this brilliant blueprint for how to dismantle lies and think critically. It's way less about your diet and way more about a logical framework for getting to the truth.
And it all kicks off with a really simple but powerful question. Who gets to decide? Who makes the rules? Is it God through clear, direct guidance? Or is it us, based on our own traditions, our superstitions, our assumptions? This is the central conflict we're about to jump into.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the problem, all this man-made confusion. Then, we'll see the simple principle God offers to replace it. After that, we get to the really cool part, the logical takedown of all those false ideas. Then, we'll cover the real rules, which are super simple. And finally, we'll land on the ultimate point of this whole thing, the critical importance of truth over lies.
Okay, so first, let's just set the scene a little. In pre-Islamic Arabia, religious life was, well, it was a mess. It was this tangled web of rules and rituals. People had invented all sorts of complicated prohibitions, especially around food, creating a system that was based entirely on superstition, not revelation.
Now, what's so clever here is the approach the Quran takes. Before it even starts to challenge the false rules, it establishes this beautiful baseline of pure generosity. It's like it's saying, hang on, before we get into all that, just look at what God has given you: gardens, crops, pomegranates, livestock. It paints this picture of incredible abundance first, then it points to all the complicated rules people layered on top, declaring things forbidden without any real authority. It's such a powerful contrast, right? Divine gifts versus human-made restrictions.
So, after showing what a mess this man-made system is, the Quran doesn't just point a finger and say, you're wrong. No, instead it offers this beautifully simple and positive principle to replace all of that complexity.
And this, right here, this is the heart of it. The default relationship we're supposed to have with God's creation is one of enjoyment and gratitude. It's a gift. It's not some tricky minefield of arbitrary rules designed to make you fail. The starting point, the default setting, is basically, enjoy this.
The whole principle really boils down to just three simple things. Number one, enjoy what God has given you. Number two, be grateful for it and share it. Give back, especially to those in need. And number three, don't be wasteful. That's it. That's the whole framework. It's positive, it's ethical, and it's incredibly straightforward.
And this is where things get really interesting. This is the core of the argument, the takedown. Instead of just making a declaration, the Quran uses this razor-sharp logic, a series of questions to basically dismantle the superstitions from the inside out. It's brilliant.
Okay, so to follow this next part, there's just one quick term we need to know. The Quran talks about the 8 mates. This is just a simple way of referring to the 4 most common types of livestock. So you've got sheep, goats, camels, and cattle, and their male and female pairs. Just keep those animals in mind because they're about to be used in this amazing logical cross-examination.
So the challenge begins. The pagans had all these weird rules about forbidding certain animals, sometimes based on gender. So the Quran asks this super direct question, forcing them to get specific. Okay, you say something's forbidden? Fine. Let's pin it down. Did God forbid the males? And the pressure just keeps building. All right, so if it wasn't the males, was it the females? Or maybe it was whatever the females were carrying in their wombs. The questioning just completely exposes how arbitrary and random their rules were. There was no consistent principle. It was all just made up. And then comes the knockout blow. This is the question that leaves them absolutely nowhere to hide. Or, were you there? Did you personally witness God give this command? This question just flips the whole thing on its head. It shifts the entire burden of proof. You want to make a claim about God? Fine. Then you better have evidence from God. Because just saying that's what we've always been told isn't going to cut it. And the verdict on doing something like this is incredibly severe. This isn't just a simple mistake, like getting a dinner menu wrong. To invent a lie, attach it to God, and then use it to mislead people, that's described as the greatest injustice you could possibly commit. It's a huge deal.
So after completely demolishing the foundation of all these false prohibitions, the Quran then provides the alternative. And what's so striking is just how simple and clear it is.
So you go from that tangled web of confusing, man-made rules to this. The actual divine prohibitions are distilled down to just 4 clear categories. That's it. Animals that died on their own, flowing blood, pork, and anything sacrificed to a power other than the one God.
It's rational, it's clean, and it's incredibly simple.
Now, the Quran even anticipates the next question, which is, well, what about the more complex dietary laws in other religions, like Judaism? And it addresses this head-on. It explains that those laws were specific to that community, for their time and their context. For this new community, the slate is wiped clean, bringing it all back to this simple, universal foundation.
And all of this brings us to the ultimate point, because this whole discussion, from pomegranates to livestock, it was never really just about food. It was using food as a case study for something much, much bigger, the fundamental, critical difference between divine truth and human assumption.
You see, the people holding on to these beliefs, they had one last excuse, a kind of fatalism. They'd argue, hey, look, if God didn't want us to be doing this, he would have stopped us, right? But the Quran just dismisses this by going right back to the central theme, the demand for proof. It asks, do you have any actual knowledge to back that claim up? Or are you just guessing, just following an assumption?
And this right here, this is the mic drop moment of the entire passage. With Allah is the conclusive argument. People can offer up excuses and traditions and assumptions and guesses, but the final, decisive, evidence-based proof, that rests with God and God alone.
So the passage ends by circling right back to where it all started, evidence. The final challenge is so simple and so profound. Don't get bogged down in arguments. Just ask for the proof. Bring your witnesses. Because if there are no witnesses, no revelation, no evidence, then what you're following isn't religion. It's just human desire.
So really, the big takeaway from all this isn't just a list of what's for dinner. It's a powerful lesson in critical thinking, and it forces us to turn that question back on ourselves. In our own lives, in our own beliefs, what are the things we just accept without question? What are the assumptions we follow without ever stopping to demand the evidence? That's the real challenge.